Welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to another episode of Highly Debated. All right, so this is number 2, number 3 to try to make this episode. My first attempt at this, did not realize that I was not recording my audio. Correctly, so I have to reshoot all of this. So it might not be as long. It might be a little bit longer. I don't quite know. Hopefully it sounds good. But anyways, welcome to episode 3 of Highly Debated. We're going to be talking about UFC 312 in particular. And as I told you, this is going to be a little bit different type of content than what you're used to. So I'm going to be holding on to this rather than putting it on a tripod. Maybe I use some lighting. Maybe I sit somewhere where the lighting is a little better. I don't know. But UFC 312, it was DDP versus Sean Strickland. And what we tell you here, man? What did we tell you? That Sean Strickland was going to show up and do exactly what Sean Strickland does, which is nothing but jab, try to come forward, try to break his opponent, and then if possible, try to look to not even finish him, but, just put an onslaught on him to the point where he'll just cruise to a decision based on volume. But that's not what we got. We got DDP actually going forward with more volume himself, although not a lot, but he broke Sean Strickland's nose, and then he ended up just pretty much chasing him around the ring. So what is there to say about this? First and foremost, before we start to get into the controversies, I want to talk about DDP. I said he was going to win because dude is just too strong. He's too active. He's actually skilled. He might be awkward, but he's skilled. And it's time for people to put a little bit of respect on his name. He made it very clear that Sean Strickland does not even deserve another title shot. Whether you agree or not, that's entirely up to you. But personally speaking, I don't really want to see Sean Strickland in the title fight again, unless he goes on a rampage and beats everyone underneath him and then works his way up, right? At this point, he's probably going to drop to number 3, probably number 4, number 5, just to keep things fresh. I don't know. We'll see what the UFC does. But truthfully speaking, he left a lot to be desired. The fight was for him to go make. It wasn't like we were expecting DDP to hand over the belt, but I told you here, Sean Strickland was going to do the same thing. I didn't expect him to get out of his comfort zone. Why would he get out of his comfort zone? All he knows how to fight is one way. But anyways, before I start going into that, DDP, I think it's time to start respecting the guy a little bit more. He's clearly in the elite class, and he proved it by adjusting his game plan for the second fight, by raising volume, not giving Sean Strickland any opportunity to get any offense going. Sean Strickland did have some successful moments, very, very, very rare moments, but I don't know. Sean Strickland, man. So not only does this guy look like he lost his belt to DDP, then loses his second opportunity to get it back. Well, loses his opportunity to get it back after having lost it to this guy. His coach goes on Ariel Helwani a couple days later. I think it was a day or two ago. And then he starts talking about how, Sean Strickland didn't follow the game plan. He didn't do exactly what he practiced. He wasn't entirely there. And then, Ariel asked him if anything's going to come from this. He says something along the lines, basically, I'm paraphrasing here, that if Sean Strickland is not trying to become a champion, if he's not going to be fighting in championship fights or for a championship, then he has now these are his words, I'm paraphrasing his words, he has no interest in coaching him. Now, what happens after this? Sean Strickland replies as well, because Ariel Helwani then asks Eric Nixick, who I think is he's a very smart guy. I don't think Eric Nixick's a dumb guy by any means, and he's the head coach of Extreme Couture. So to be a head coach of a place like that, I think you got to be pretty on top of your game. Give me a second here. So then Ariel asks Eric Nixick, what's gonna happen? Are you still gonna coach him? And then he pretty much says, we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board. I'm going to have to have a talk with Sean Strickland and see where we sit, where is he at mentally, pretty much where he leaves it at. They're going back to the drawing board. Not necessarily saying they're not going to work together, but doesn't say that they are. So anyways, the day later, I believe Sean Strickland responds to his coach also publicly on social media, talking about that he loves him, he understands him. He goes into some reasoning on why maybe he performed the way he did and why he didn't perform to the expectations, because of the staph infection, because of this, because of that, whatever. I don't want to hear it. He wrote the check he couldn't cash, not me. So then after that, he says that he might not work with Eric anymore, but he's going to be working with other coaches at Extreme Couture. So basically saying that they're not going to be working anymore. So then DC, on his episode, he talks about how he believes that Eric Nixick is basically, he's kind of out of line for saying that publicly and then having to call out Sean and stuff like that. But I think the point that everyone is missing here is that I don't think he's doing it because this is his first time having this conversation with Sean Strickland. Something tells me that this has been building up throughout the camp. I say this because even Sean himself said that this camp was rough. Now, he didn't go into particular details on why, other than like the staff. He said he had a broken bone, stuff like that. Now, if it's true, why did he talk so hard? Guess he wanted the pay-per-view points? I don't know. But so DC says that Eric Nixick's a little bit out of pocket. He shouldn't have said that. But I think what everyone's missing here is that I don't think his coach is talking to him publicly. Like, he's not talking to him publicly because this is the first time he's trying to tell Sean Strickland this. He's doing this because I think it's kind of like a last recourse for him. Kind of like, like, I tried telling you this throughout camp, and now I gotta tell you this publicly, and publicly kind of spank you and hit you in the butt and kind of be like, yo, what are we doing here, right? And I think that's what the message is. And the message wasn't necessarily, although he said if he's not going to be in championship fights, I don't want to coach him, something along those lines. I think what he was really meaning is if Sean Strickland is not trying to become champion, if he's not bringing that mentality, then he doesn't want to be in his corner, which is, as his head coach, it is his job to motivate him. So it's not to say, like, I wouldn't be surprised if, next time we see them, they are still working together, because that is the job of your coach. You'd want your coach to motivate you, but your coach also does have a standard as well. It's like, it takes two to tango, right? So your coach could also say, hey, I don't want to work with you. But anyways, that's what happened. That is the follow from Drekis versus Sean Strickland. So, I mean, it was an all right fight. It wasn't the greatest fight. But, congratulations to Drekis. Strickland, he falls probably to number 5, somewhere around there. And then in the co-main event, we had Sean Lee versus Tatiana Suarez. And what I tell you, man, they were handing money out. I can't believe people counted out Sean Lee. Bro, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with y'all buying that hype? Anyways, Sean Lee just put on a masterclass performance of Don't Doubt the Champ. That's what I got from that. That, like, Sean Lee is here to stay. Maybe 3 more fights, 4 more fights, depending on who her opponent is. But the girl showed out. The girl showed why she's the champion, why she's now trying to, cement her own legacy in a way where it's going to put her up there with Joanna and all the other greats, women of her weight class. But she completely just, ran over Tatiana after the first round. I think Tatiana's best shot was the first round because of her wrestling. And I think her wrestling wasn't strong enough to where Zhang Weili was, scared of it. I think she trusted her skills. She trusted her training with Henry Cejudo, and it paid off in spades. And, it was a performance where I think people will respect her more moving forward. And hopefully, I think she's still in her prime, so she should have some good fights still in it. But, Father Time catches up with everybody. So this current Zhang Weili is at the very tippity top. So, good for her. And moving on to the fight after that, it was Justin Tafa versus Tomlinson Texteda. Remember, I didn't really know what the fuck was going on here, but, the giant homie Texteda just clearly knocked out Tafa in like 30-something seconds. What is that? In 35 seconds? Bro, that's crazy. And dude's a giant, too. He's literally looks like a Sasquatch, Brazilian Sasquatch, bro. But congratulations to him. And we'll see. I'm excited to see how he's going to look. Now I know who the fuck he is. So there's that. Then there was Jimmy Cruz versus Rodolfo Bellato. Great fight. Bellato, he's built like a big Ed, if that makes sense to you. And then Jimmy Cruz, I mean, what can you say about the dude? He never gave up on himself either. Rodolfo Bellato, he's the one who kind of came back. So kudos to him. Ended up being a draw, but still a good fight. Then the first fight I didn't see, and the winner was Jake Matthews. So there was that. I don't know. All right, and this week we've got Jared Cannonier headlining a UFC Fight Night against RoboCop Gregory Rodriguez. And really, we've got Rodriguez at a minus 245 and Jared Cannonier at a plus 200. Jared Cannonier is actually trying to fight for relevancy in his weight class at this point. He had an interview talking about how he might be he's kind of getting like a vibe like people are treating him like a gatekeeper, but at the same time, what would you call his position if he's not fighting for a title, if he's not in the top 5, he's falling out of the top 10. He's number 7. So he's at least you expect a guy ranked number 7. He's not going to be easy to beat, but he's probably doesn't have a title shot because he's 40 something, bro. Dude's old as fuck. So, Rodriguez, who's also built like a elderly man who's on TRT, he's going to have an opportunity to crack into the top 10. And I think what might happen is if Rodriguez wins, Cannonier falls to possibly number 11. Rodriguez slides into 10. Everyone else slides up a little bit more. So, I'm not going to be watching this because I'll be out with the lady, but should be a decent fight. Then we got Calvin Kattar versus Youssef Zalal. Honestly, I'm not too familiar with Youssef. Calvin Kattar, I've seen him fight once or twice before. But here's the thing, Youssef is a minus 500 favorite. So with odds like that, Calvin Kattar probably doesn't have much of a shot. So that's pretty much what's going on. I'm not going to go deeper into that because who else is here? I don't know anyone else, bro. Y'all like this camera? And let me know what do you like? Do you like the, I don't know. You want me to use like the tripod and the lights, or do you like this movement a little bit more? Maybe you're just listening to this while you're driving, so it doesn't even fucking matter. But let's see. Oh yes, and to end this off, this weekend there is some boxing, but I don't really know who is that, so I'm not really gonna go too deep into it. That's pretty much the preview for the UFC. Just saw the Keyshawn Davis versus Berdyevchenko fight. Good on Keyshawn Davis. He looked really sharp. He looked like he's definitely part of that Bomac camp with Terrence Crawford. The way he looked so crispy, very calm between the punches. You could tell dude was locked in. And really, he's a title. It's the first title he's won. And I think he's a guy that you should be keeping an eye out for because he's clearly very talented. He's got a good amount of power. He's also very crispy, bro. Something you don't see very often. Sometimes in fighters, they sometimes just throw. His are pinpointing, like kind of Terrence Crawford. Like I saw similarities in the way they fight and the way they deliver their punches. So check him out. Check out the highlights. I thought it was a very good fight on his part, especially after how Berdyevchenko tried to pretty much bait him in a racial manner, and Keyshawn Davis really had his emotions under control. He didn't shoot his load in the first round, how I think they were expecting him to. So kudos on him for doing that. And he's got his first belt. Congratulations, and hopefully he continues on this path. So let me know what you guys think about this episode 3 of Highly Debated. And here I am with my homie Canelo. As we sign off, remember to like, share, subscribe. Peace.